All right, everybody, welcome back to the Centrella show. And I could not be more freaking excited for today's show because I feel like it has been a long time in coming for us to just be able to have this conversation. I know the readers of Hustle, Believe, Receive who are out there love this guy and have been like hitting me up in the DMs for 5 years or however long it's been since I first started this podcast going, when is Kenjon Barner coming on the show? So welcome to the show, Kenjon. Could not be more thrilled to have you on.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me. And people, I'm here.
I know. We're so excited. And about halfway into the show today, everybody, I have a special guest joining as well. So stay tuned for the whole episode for that to come through. But Kenjon, this is a conversation that I have just wanted to have with you for such a long time. I mean, you've done so much since we last caught up with you and Hustle, Believe, Receive. Gosh, I feel like that was 2015. You were playing, right? But like you hadn't won a Super Bowl yet.
No, not yet. Not yet.
Oh my God. And wait, how many rings do you have now?
3.
Oh, just three. Just three Super Bowl
three,
rings.
something light 3.
It's no big deal. It's nothing crazy.
Yeah,
Oh my God. So we have so much to get into, but what I would love to kind of start with, and we always do on the show, is we talk about like the journey to get here. You didn't just wake up a 3-time Super Bowl champion.
Right.
You didn't wake up an Oregon legend. There were a lot of tough times you went through. There was a lot of work. There was a lot of hustle. So take us back. Like, where did the journey to become a football legend start for you? Like, how did that progress? How'd you get here?
This journey started back on Cheryl Lane in Southern California. Growing up in a household with my older brothers, my sister, my mother, and my father. So it started back probably about the age of 4 years old. As far as football goes, I would play in the front yard with my brothers. My brothers are all older than me, so I always play with the older kids. Play in the front yard with them. They'd sneak me up to the park, go to the park, play with the older kids. Finally got an opportunity to play organized sports. I believe I was about 11 years old when my mom finally said yes. It took my neighbor, Renee Eddington, convincing my mom. She had been asking for years. Let him play. I think
your mom was smart. She was holding off.
Oh, she was very, listen, when I got to high school, my mom didn't know I was playing football.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was coming home a little bit later on in the evening. What are you coming home so late for? I was studying.
Oh, wow. I bet you got in trouble when you got found out.
Yeah, because we had a deal. When I first played organized sports, she said I could play, but the minute I got hurt, I was done with football. And it's football. Something's
Right.
gonna happen. Something's gonna happen. So I ended up getting hurt, finished that season, and she never let me play again until I was old enough to make my own decision.
Wow.
And so it was about my freshman year. But this journey has been, like you said, it's been a long, grueling, unsatisfying, satisfying, heartbreaking, heart-filling. Every emotion that you can think of, I've experienced along this journey. But this started back with my brothers and my dad. So this started as a kid, realizing that I had a talent. And I told my dad one day, I think this is in a book. It might be in a book.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but one day I was supposed to be getting ready for basketball practice, and Dad called, "Get up, are you up?" "No, I'm not." "Okay, well, get up, we got to get ready for practice." Call right back, "Are you up?" "No, I told you to get up." Still not up. He gets to the house, comes in my room. I'm still laying in bed. "What are you doing?" "I don't want to play basketball no more. I want to play football." I said, "You don't play football. You're a basketball player." I said, "Well, I'm going to the NFL." And I was about 12 years old, and I had never, no, this was before I played organized ball, so it's probably about 10. And I had never played a down football in my life outside of being in the front yard. And told him then, and so that's you can say that's when this journey started. When I told my dad that I was going to the NFL, and Janae Eddington finally got my mom to let me play ball.
Wow, I love that so much. And in the book, one of the steps, and I think that's probably where your story is in Say It, because it's all about like, putting that out into the universe. Like, and there is something, I mean, you remember it, right? You remember when you're 10 years old, you remember the exact moment that you like declared it and said, this is what's going to happen. You had at 10, no idea what it was going to take. You had no idea how hard it was going to
No
be.
idea.
None of that, but you just knew and you put it out there. And then like, once you do that, then we do want to step up. We don't want to like fall on our face and prove ourselves wrong, you know,
One
like,
thing I've always said, I'm never gonna lie to myself.
yeah,
You know, once I verbalized that out of my mouth and told my dad that's what I wanted to do, when I finally got the opportunity to do it, I was gonna prove myself right. So
of that.
that when you speak it, you know, it's in the atmosphere. Now it's on you to go out there and make it happen. It's on you to do the work. It's on you to grind, workouts, run, workouts, get around people that know the game better than I did, get around somebody that can teach me the game, get a trainer, do all this different stuff in order to prepare yourself for what you want. Because if you're not going to do it, nobody else is going to do it for you. And that was something that I learned at a very early age. You know, that's something my parents instilled. There's nothing in this world that's going to be given to you. Anything and everything that you want, you're going to have to earn. You have to go take. You have to go get it yourself.
I love that. I mean, and I think like what you said in the beginning, like, I don't lie to myself. Like, that's so huge. I think there's so many people out there who the first person they're breaking their word to is themselves. You know, like they'll keep their words to their kids or they'll keep their words to their partner or whatever, but you know, they'll make a promise to themselves and it's the first thing to go. And I always say, like, you have to build trust with yourself. You,
Yeah.
the same way that you expect trust from somebody else, and if they lie to you, all of a sudden you don't trust them so well, you know, same
Yeah.
thing is true for yourself. Like, and I'm the
Absolutely.
same way. If I put it out there, man, I know ain't nothing gonna come between me and it. It might be years, but I'm gonna get it because I put it out there. Like,
Absolutely.
yeah.
It's one of my favorite things to say to people. The strongest man in the world is a man who can look himself in the eye, address himself, look in the mirror, acknowledge his own faults, and make the adjustments. And that goes hand in hand with putting something out there. If you want to go get it,
Yeah,
if you lie to yourself, you'll lie to anybody. So one
absolutely.
thing I'm never going to play games with is myself. I'm never going to trick myself out of position. I'm never going to trick myself into believing something that I don't really want. If I say it, I mean it. If I mean it, I'm going to go get it.
I love that. So let's talk about Oregon. How'd you get to Oregon? How did that, I mean, how did you go from being a freshman who's just now starting to learn the game of football, really, to
Mhm.
freaking Oregon? Like, well, while you were there, you guys went to the national championship. So not a little
National
deal,
championship, Rose Bowl, Fiesta Bowl,
right?
you know,
Like,
right
not a
here.
small thing.
Yeah, so that journey to Oregon, shout out to Ryan Kessman. That's a kid that went to San Jacinto High School down in San Jacinto, California. Um, I didn't start getting football. I didn't get a scholarship. I believe it might have been I think I had one my junior year, or it might not have been to my senior. I don't remember exactly. You would have to talk to my dad because he knows all things about me. Um, but we were playing against a high school, San Jacinto. I believe they had about maybe 6 or 7 guys that was going Division One. Ryan being around those guys, he was a running back on their team that Oregon was looking at, and they happened to be at the game in which we were playing each other. I balled out. I had a great game, had a phenomenal game, ended up winning the game, scored the last touchdown in the game. Had a brilliant game. And then I got my first letter from Oregon probably a week later. A week
Wow.
got my first letter. I didn't commit because my number one school was Arizona State. That's where I wanted to be, and I wanted to be there because I'm very close to my family, and my brother was living in Phoenix at the time, or living out there in Tempe. So Arizona State was my number one. That's where I wanted to go. That's where I wanted to be. Um, Fortunately and thankfully, Arizona State made a mistake. They
Yep.
tried to, they tried to play me and told me that I had a week to commit to them because they had offered another kid from my area and he committed. And so they told me you have a week to commit or we're gonna renege on the scholarship. And I told them,
Wow.
there, you can take it. I don't want it. So
Wow.
once I did that, I took a little bit more time and shout out to Coach Tom Osborne. I'm real big on honesty from coaches. I'm real big on people being real upfront and honest. And everybody up to that point had told me that I could go to college and I could play running back. I could be at the running back position. Coach Osborne was the only person that was recruiting me that told me, you can't play running back. You're too small
Wow.
right. You're too small right now. Maybe in the future you can, but right now your best bet is to go play defensive back. And I think that's where you'll have a great level of success. And so from that point on, Oregon became my favorite because I'm like, okay, if this guy over at this major Division I university is telling me that I can't play running back because of my stature, and everybody else is telling me I am.
Yeah.
Something's not adding up, you know. And so I took what he said. It broke my heart, made me cry.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what made me commit to Oregon, you know. Honesty, somebody being real, telling me what I didn't want to hear rather than what I wanted to hear. So I
Right.
get to Oregon in 2008, and shout out to Coach Ives.
Wow, that's incredible. And I mean, it's really incredible because anyone listening who's an Oregon fan knows you as one of the best running backs of a generation. You know, like it was funny at the game last weekend. I can't even count how many 24 jerseys I see, which was your number. I mean, people are still rocking your jerseys over a decade later. Like, you know, the love is real for you. So, like, what did you do to be able to like take that criticism? We've all been there. We've all had those heartbreaking things where like, man, I'm so set on this thing that I wanted. I've worked my ass off to get it. What, like, I can't have the thing that I want. Like, what made you continue through that? And how did you continue through that to be one of the best Oregon running backs ever?
One thing that my dad and mom always raised me, you have to be able to adapt. You have to be able to change. You have to be able to shift and go. And that's what mine, before college, that's what my entire athletic, I've always had to adapt to different situations, different people, different things. And so adapting was never an issue for me. So when he told me I couldn't play running back, okay, well, if I can't be great at running back, I'm gonna be great at DB. And so when I get to Oregon, I'm learning how to play the deep defensive back spot. I'm learning from Patrick Chung, Walter Thurman, Jarius Byrd, Thomas Jackson, Anthony Gilden, TJ Ward. I'm learning from guys. And so I'm really picking this spot up, really finding my groove in it. And we had an injury the end of, this might have been, we had a bunch of injuries going in the spring ball of my redshirt freshman year. And Chip came to me, and one day after practice, I got a pick in practice and I ran it back. And that day he called me to his office and he was like, "How do you feel about playing running back?"
Wow, you're like, really?
I said, "Excuse me?" He said, "How do you feel, how do you feel about coming to the side of the ball to help us out? We got a lot of injuries. It could be an opportunity for you to play." But what got me to actually commit to going to play running back, because I fell in love with defensive back at the time, was Chip told me that I could go both ways. He was like, "You'll spend a little time here, you'll go back there, you'll be there, then you'll come back here." I'm like, "Okay, absolutely, I'll go both ways, just like high school." But I got over to that side of the ball, and I'm wondering when I'm going back to a defensive back meeting, and John Neal comes to me and tells me, "I don't think you're coming back." I said, "No." All right, well,
I'm sorry, you're scoring a few too many touchdowns per game.
Yeah.
We can't pull you off that.
Yeah, so Chip seen something in me, Coach Cam seen something in me as well. Enough to want to pull me over there and see what I could do at the running back spot. And luckily, it hadn't been too long since high school, and I still had a little bit left in me. Got to that part of the ball and made it happen, made a way.
I love that. And there's such a lesson in there for all of us on, I call it get ready to be ready. So I'm constantly getting ready for the next thing. You never know when that opportunity is going to come through. You never know when you're going to get the call that, had you been sitting around waiting to get ready for the call, you're going to miss the whole opportunity. And so I love that you were out there 100% committed to what was in your lap at the moment. I'm going to be all in. I'm not going to sit around. I'm not going to cry about it. I'm not going to whatever. I'm going to be in and do the most, do the best, work the hardest. And lo and behold, your dream opportunity, which is what you wanted in the beginning, comes knocking back around. I freaking love that so much. And so I want, for those of you listening who don't know our connection, we go way back now, 2010.
Way back, like 4 flats on a Cadillac.
Oh my God, you were like a child. You were younger than my son is right now, which is just insane. So I have to tell the story a little bit because it's so crazy. People don't believe it. I still kind of don't believe it, especially because you guys had just come off of the big championship game. I think you'd been back like not even a week or something, and it was my son Kanan's birthday. And we had just gone through like so much financial hardship, and we had lost our house, it had flooded, just all this stuff. And I just remember as a mom going like, I can't give my kid anything for his birthday. I literally I think I had like $25 to my name, enough to put gas in the car and drive to Eugene. And I was like, but I have to do something. I have to make it like special for him. He's turning 8. And I was in corporate sales at the time. And so, we're really good at like cold calling, whereas like you'll send an email and, it's a pitch email. Right. And so I was like, well, shit, I mean, it works in corporate sales. Like maybe it'll work, with a football player. And so I remember I messaged you and I messaged Ed Dixon and I was like, here's the story. Like, what if I drive to Eugene, which is 100 miles each way? Any chance at all that for 5 minutes you'll come out and toss the ball with my son, or even just sign it? I don't even, I don't even think I expected you to actually toss the ball with him. But and you're like, yeah, sure, why not? And I remember I got him in the car, and I don't think he didn't know, because I didn't tell him much. I just said, hey, we're gonna go to Eugene. We're gonna go on a little drive. Bring your football with you. And we get there and we go out and he's on the grass and both you guys show up and you literally play freaking football with this kid for a good hour. And you guys are just out there laughing, you're tackling him, you're just like having a good old time. And I'm just sitting there going like, this is insane. This is, and it was just such a pivotal moment for me to believe in possibility. It's gonna make me like choked up, because there was so much like dark and bad in my life at that time. Like, to have a magic moment, it was like the first magic moment that we had experienced, my son and I, in such a long time.
It was Saturday. He's so nervous. Hi. He was like super nervous. He's like, what if they throw it really fast like a bullet and I can't catch it? They wouldn't do that. I know. I was like, they know you're 8. So thank you. It's like dream come true for him. Super excited. I was just gonna say he catches it pretty good. I gotta see this little munchkin. Gosh, it's getting so big. Come on, Kanen! Come on! Don't hit me! That's awesome.
Okay, I'm gonna throw it to Kenjon. You gotta go get him.
Wow.
And just to like have that. So I'm guessing you remember that day.
Absolutely. I've always, since I was a little kid, I won't name the athlete, but my uncle used to run a pro-am league for basketball, and all the pros would come up, all the pros would show up. I remember one of my favorite players happened to be in the stands while I'm there at this game watching. And I'm like, I want to ask him for his autograph. I'm talking to my dad. He's like, go ask him. And so I went over to ask him, and he looked me in my face and said no. I was like,
Wow.
okay. He said it in some other words, but
Wow.
he said no.
To a kid. Oh my God.
To a kid, he said no. And it changed my perspective on things. And ever since that moment, I held on to that.
Wow.
And for me, I said to myself that I would never be him. I would never be somebody that someone looks up to. And when the opportunity comes or the chance comes about for a child to meet that person, that I turn them away. I would never be that person. I'm a firm believer now as an adult that God just doesn't bless you to hold on to your blessing. He blesses you to be a blessing to others. And me being in the spot that I was in at Oregon at that time, it was a blessing for me, because there's a million different things that could have went wrong in my life. I could have did a whole bunch of other things that took me out of that spot, but it didn't. He kept me there. And so when you reached out, it was a no-brainer. It was, okay, yeah, we're gonna make this kid birthday happen.
Oh my God. Okay, so everybody, I have a special guest for you.
Whoa.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. So my son, Kanen Rossi, is here with us today, and Kanen, turn your camera on, and your mic. Get him on the show really quick. So Kanen, how do you remember that day? Welcome to the show, first of all.
Hello.
Yeah, it's good to have you on.
What's up, big man?
Yeah.
I know, it's so good for you guys we have so much more to the story that has come full circle for us ever since then. I mean, there's so many ways it's come full circle. But I'm curious what your memories are of that day, Kanan. Do you remember going out there and playing football with those guys?
It was a really long time ago, so I don't. But I mean, watching all the videos is really fun, just because it's hard to remember memories when you're 8. But
Yeah.
I mean, to keep the pictures that I have through those memories are just something that I keep with me all the time.
Yeah.
Um,
You have it on your phone as your screensaver, right? Like the
yeah, I do, and it's funny because
Right there on his wall.
uh,
Yeah.
event at Dixon, and I was like, oh, I need to get a picture with you to show my mom, and I forgot I had it on my screensaver. He's like, you have me on your screensaver? I was like,
Yeah, that's dope, man.
and on there, like it gives me like motivation to keep going. Just because I was such a young kid, and I want to keep, giving hope to all the younger kids around me.
Yeah, it's been we were talking a little bit about the adversity and you changing up Kenyon as getting that surprise. Guess what? You're not going to get the position that you want. You better be ready for something else. And Kanan, you went through something similar as far as like stepping up to play center, even that wasn't what you played in high school, right? So maybe talk a little bit about like what made you want to step up and try something different. It was totally not a position that you were in, but you were willing to like put yourself out there and give it a shot.
Yeah, so I've actually never played center in my high school career, and that's the only position I play in college, which is funny.
Yeah.
Um, so actually, kind of similar to your story, there was a really high recruit for Oregon in my last senior game, and I was playing against him. And oddly enough, there was a recruit at the game watching. So I was blessed and fortunate enough for him to message me back, and then I got in contact with the offensive line coach, and he hit me up and he's like, "Have you ever played center before?" And I was like, I could show you some practice clips. He's like, oh, it's okay. And I was like, okay, I should probably learn how to snap the ball then. And so when I got to camp back in August, I went up to him and I was like, hey, I'm gonna play center for you. Like I've been practicing my snaps. Like I know the playbook. I know that this is where I'm gonna get like the most opportunity to play and to take reps because I want to be able to play multiple positions. And so from then on, I've been sticking to center. It's my favorite position. I play both guards and center. I love it. It was a challenge, and I think it was for the better.
Yeah. It's so crazy, like having that adaptability and being willing to try something new and put yourself out in a scary position. I mean, that was something totally new, and you're at freaking D1, you're at your dream school, Oregon, willing to like, take that chance. And I know you have a couple questions for Kenyon. You have an opportunity. I mean, first of all, I kind of want to ask you, Kanan, like from your perspective, you've grown up knowing him, right? Like he FaceTimed you on when you went to the Oregon camp back in high school, right? And so what has it meant for you to like grow up with having, people in your life that inspire you? Has it inspired you?
It's interesting and fun because it's different because a lot of kids don't have that experience. So it was kind of like, oh, it's not special to me at the time. But then now I realized I was like, whoa, like that's a really big moment for me. That a lot of different people are influencing my life in a way that I don't even know at the moment.
Yeah.
But it take me to my future and for the better. And I just always thought it was so fun to have Oregon athletes like just who I was a huge super fan. So it's cool. And now me being a Duck, I know that it's fun for like interact with different kids and stuff to know you.
Yeah. Did you have a question for Kenyon?
Yeah. So when in your life did you feel most successful?
That is a great question. When in my life did I feel the most successful? Honestly, I would say it wasn't until this past year. You know, as I've gotten older, I'm grateful for everything that I experienced through sports. I'm grateful for all the ups that I've had, of the success, the wins, the championship games. I'm beyond grateful for that. But on the grand scale of things, all that stuff really doesn't matter. I felt the most successful in my life when I found myself.
Mm.
When I found out who I was, what I was supposed to be, what I'm here for. You know, a lot of people go through life, spending their life trying to find their purpose, trying to find their why. And for me, this past March was the biggest success that I've ever had in my life, because I found me within God. And that's the most success that I've had. Off the field, on the field, nothing will ever compare to what I experienced from March and even here to this point today. Like I said, I'm grateful for everything that I've done in sport, but you know, you could take all of that away, and when you do, what's left? The only thing that's left is you. So for me to be able to come to a place to where I believe that I found myself, I found out who I am, who I'm supposed to be, what I was designed to be, what I was designed to do. That's the biggest success in my life.
I mean, that's incredible. I think like the journey to get to know ourselves and to push past like just our stuff, right? Our fear, our hurt, our baggage, our limitations, to really be honest with ourselves, which I think is really hard too, you know, to take a really hard look and then to want to change. What got you to the place where you wanted to even do that? I think a lot of people are running from it.
I've been on a journey since 2019. It started when I was playing for the Falcons, the end of that year. But I've been in a pruning process, constantly molding and changing and shifting. And, you know, as I was in a space for a long time to where I could be in a room full of people and I felt alone. I was completely by myself. I could be around my best of friends, but I felt alone. I could be in areas and in environments where I would normally thrive, and I felt like I didn't belong. And so for the past 5-6 years, I've been going through this process of just really diving in and going through life. Life comes. And as life has came, each trial, each tribulation, each step has forced me to sit down and take a look at myself rather than putting blame on somebody else or trying to find fault in somebody else. I've had to deal with me. I've had to sit and be with me. And that's an uncomfortable thing, to have to sit and take a look at yourself and, okay, well, why did this happen? Why did this happen? Why didn't this go the way that I wanted to? Why didn't this, why, you know, all these different things, from my career to relationships to people. I was forced to sit down and take a look at myself. And so once I started doing that, and in that, finding myself through what the word says, man.
Yeah, it's a whole different level, right? Whole different
Yeah.
level. What helped you get there? So prayer, faith,
Prayer, faith,
what are some things that helped you?
heartbreak.
Yeah, that'll do it to you, right?
Heartbreak, honestly, that was the last piece to the puzzle. Because I went through a little heartbreak, and I had an opportunity, and I don't want to say an opportunity, but I had a choice to make, to either deal with that heartbreak like I normally would, or be something different and change who I am. And so that heartbreak triggered the final stages of this change, because I sat still and I was quiet. I waited to move, I waited to go, I sat and I listened, I read. That was the triggering point that pushed me to where I am today. That was the last piece of the puzzle, because like I said, life happens. I've gone through, in the past 5 years, I've gone through a lot of stuff, you know, things that nobody has any idea what I've been going through.
Right.
But that was a final little piece to the puzzle for me. I needed that heartbreak to give me a little more
it
isolation.
reshapes you, right? Reshapes you.
Man,
Like,
does it?
yeah. What, Kanen, did you have one more question?
Yeah, so like as an athlete and someone who was top performance and like the master of your craft, how did you separate yourself, you know, as a person, as an athlete, as like an individual? How do you separate yourself from others?
First thing, my drive. I had a drive that was unmatched. You know, I tell kids even to this day, I didn't have a summer break until my senior year of college. I didn't know what a summer break was. I didn't know what a vacation was.
Right.
I knew none of that. I didn't take a break until one of my best friends was getting married, and I went to his bachelor party in Vegas my senior year of college. That was my first time taking a break. I was a kid that when spring break came or we went home for a week in summer, whatever it was, I was on the phone before I got home. Hey, Daddy, can you get me set up for training? As soon as I get home, I need to go train. So my drive and my commitment to myself and wanting to be better, wanting to be great, wanting to have a level of success, that's what separated me from a lot of guys. Because a lot of guys really don't really care. You know, they're happy to be there. They want to be good, but they're not going to put the work in to do it. So for me, it was my drive and my work ethic. And then lastly, you said as a person, it was understanding that my talent would get me in rooms, but my character would keep me there.
Ooh, write that one down, Kanen. That's a good one.
It was understanding that, again, like I told you earlier, understanding that at some point in time, my talent was going to decrease with the age, time, talent was going to come down. But when it came down, all that was going to be left was me. And was I going to be a person that people wanted to be around? Was I going to be a person that people were going to welcome back into rooms with them? Was I going to be a person that coaches would trust me around their teams? Who was I as a person? So it was understanding that don't let my talent get me somewhere that my character can't keep. Understanding that and having that mindset early. I've always done, and I don't want to say this and come off as if I'm perfect, because I did a lot of things at Oregon that could have landed me in a whole lot of trouble. I was a kid. I lived a kid's life. I experienced college. I did things. So I don't want to come off as if I'm just perfect and I did nothing. No, I did a lot. I did a lot of things. I just didn't get in trouble for a lot of things that I did. I didn't get caught. But I was always a good kid. I was always a good person. I always had a good heart. My intentions were always pure. So those would be the two things: my drive, and then understanding that at the end of the day, talent is good, but when that talent is gone, who's left? You. And are you somebody that people want to be around? Are you somebody that people want to work with? Are you somebody that people can trust? So those are two things for me.
Oh, I love that so much. And I just want to thank you so much for being such a support for Kanen, for myself, and and to see you. I think it was a really big full circle moment, right, Kanen, when he was there for your spring game. First time you ever padded up and played in a game in front of 30,000 fans or whatever it was. And to have Kenyon on the sidelines it was insane. Like I couldn't even keep it together the whole game. It was like, Hollywood can't write an ending like this.
Speaking to that before you go, I remember Ken was in high school and we had a conversation about what he wanted and where he wanted to go. And I told him then, if you want to go for it, work for it. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to be easy. Exactly. Do it. And like I said, to go full circle, for him to be there at his dream school where he desired to be, and be a guy, that's off to you, my guy.
You learn from the best, right, Kanen? All right, Kanen, thanks for being on and chatting with us. We appreciate it. So Kenyon, I have to ask you, well, I think back to kind of our story of how we connected. People always ask me, okay, I think I was like, I don't know, 36, 37 at the time. I had 3 little kids. You were like 19, 20. They're like, what are you going to learn from a college football player? Like, how do you become friends? Like, how did that even happen? And I think there was something, I mean, anyone who's watching the video of this, listening to this, you'll hear it too. But watching the video of this, you just feel your aura. Like you feel, I used to always call you sunshine. I was like, sunshine, because you're just like, you're a beam of sunshine. And it was such a dark time in my life that every interaction with you was like vitamin D. It was like a ray of sunshine. And so your positive energy just really struck a nerve with me. And I just remember asking you all these questions about like, how do you visualize? Like, what is that all about? And you'd be like, yeah, I think you told me a story about how you visualized a play, you'd visualize plays happening a certain way, and then you go out there and they would do it. And I would leave those conversations and just think, well, why can't I do that in my life? Like, why can't I do that at work or this or that? So talk to me a little bit about your mindset that you had even at such a young age. Like, where did that positivity come from, that strong mindset, that visualization, those type of skills?
That goes back to my childhood, honestly. That goes back to my parents, that goes back to my upbringing. That goes out to the foundation in which I stand upon today. My family, God. Without them, I was having, for whatever reason, I've always been a kid that adults came to and poured their stuff. I always
You
was.
do, you have that energy.
Yeah, I can remember as a child riding to school with my dad, and my dad's just talking to me as if I'm an adult, talking, telling me his issues and everything. My sister, I wasn't married. My sister would come to me talking about marriage and stuff I've always been, I've learned as I've gotten older and through because I am I am the friend that everybody comes to. I am the
Yeah.
friend that people lean on. I'm the strong friend in my group. And not to say that I don't have strong friends, but I'm the strong friend in my
And you
group.
listen. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're a great listener.
And so understanding that everybody's made uniquely. We all have characteristics and traits that are in us that are just that we were blessed with. And I believe because of my upbringing and because of what was instilled in me, um, I was designed to be this way. It was placed in me. My experiences in life, what I've seen from other people, what I've heard, what I've done, all of these things have shaped and molded me into the man that I am. And even as a kid, my mind, which I've always been a kid that just sat back and listened and observed. And I believe being that way is what helped me get to this place. And even back when I met you, being 19 years old, I've always been told I was far ahead of my years. And I believe that I'm an old soul in a young man's body.
Mhm.
And my upbringing, my family, God, that's how I've gotten this way, situations and living, you live long enough, you're gonna learn things, but it's on you to do with the knowledge that you gain from that what you choose to. You can either do
Yeah.
it the right way or the wrong way. And up to this point, I've done a lot of things wrong, but I've done more things right than I've
You've
done
done a
wrong.
lot of things all right. You absolutely have.
Yeah.
And I think like your loyalty and friendship is, and I've told you this many times, it's amazing. I mean, you were a loyal friend to me when really no one else was, and you're the positive influence that you had in my life at a time when I really needed it. I do believe like God and the universe bring into your life the people that you need when you need them. And it's been like incredible to learn from each other. I think we both have learned from each other over the last, God, however long. How has it impacted you as a father? Like what is it to be a father, to be passing all of this down,
I feel lucky, honestly, um, because of the things that I can instill in my children. I look at other people with their kids, and I look at their kids and the way they behave, and just different things. And I'm grateful. I'm very grateful, and I have beautiful kids. My kids, and I'm not talking about physically.
Yeah.
I have I have beautiful children. I know a lot of parents say that about their kids, but anybody who has had the opportunity to come in contact with my kids will tell you I have beautiful children.
They have
Their
your
heart,
spirit. They have to.
yeah.
Yeah, they have your spirit.
Um, so parenting for me really has been easy because my kids are amazing. They
Yeah.
have kids, they're gonna be kids, they have their moments, but I have I have amazing kids. I have two amazing boys who make my life better, made me a better man. Um, because without them, I honestly don't know what type of man I would have been a good man, I believe that. But through them, and especially through my youngest, um, kids force you to change.
Right.
Yeah. Kids show you things about yourself that you don't even realize. I was selfish for a lot of years. I was selfish in a lot of ways. And my youngest child, he's so demanding. He is very time and attention and detail and love.
Yeah,
Uh, so my kids are raising me as I'm raising them.
for sure.
This outlook on life, it makes parenting much easier. Just understanding understanding this world, understanding the society that we live in. It's easy. Parenting isn't hard for me.
Yeah.
You know, you deal with different things, but it's not, parenting isn't a hard thing for me. And
Has it motivated your change, do you think? Has it motivated all the change that you've gone through the last like 5 years?
I want, like my dad would tell me, I slipped and fell so you don't have to. And my job as a father to my kids is to try my best to make sure that they don't fall in the same potholes that I fell in. My job as a father is to try and make my kids far better than I could ever be. And I tell my youngest boy all the time, you're going to be a much greater man than I ever was because you have me now.
Yeah.
My dad was great, but my dad's reference point and his foundation wasn't my dad didn't have him.
Right.
I had
him. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so because I had my dad and because I had other father-like figures that came into my life as I got on each stage and God men that poured into me, I am who I am. So now to my kids, you're going to be better than I am. You're going to be much greater. At my son's age now, he is at his age now, he's a much better 5-year-old than I ever was. He's my oldest. He's a much better 10-year-old than I ever was. And my job is to make them better men and a better man than I could ever be.
Yeah, a legacy.
I want my kids to be better than I was. I want my kids to look different, walk different, talk different. I want my kids to experience everything that I didn't get the opportunity to. I want my kids to do things the right way that I did the wrong way.
Yeah.
So
how do you teach them the tough skills that, things like determination, drive? Have you seen any of that? I mean, they're really young, they're 5 and 10, right? But
no, absolutely.
Yeah, how do you teach that when like maybe life is a little easier for them than it was for you? Your success has afforded you a little bit of that, but like, how are you instilling those types of values in them so that they don't take life for granted either? You know what I mean?
Well, nothing is given, everything is earned. Me and my youngest every Saturday, me and my lady, we go hiking every Saturday, and it's about a 3-mile hike. And I'll send you the video of it. I didn't know she was recording, but I didn't know she was. But we go hiking. It's not an easy hike. My son's 5.
Right, he's not loving it.
He's not loving it. He's like, I want to quit. I'm done. So it's moments where I take him up there and I can be like, no, this is a representation of life. Life is going to get hard. Life is going to be an uphill battle at some point in time, but we don't quit. You want to get to the top of this, at the top of there's going to be a beautiful view that you're going to get to sit, relax, and enjoy. But in order to get to that view, you got to work, you got to grind. I can't hold your hand and pull you up this hill. I can't carry you up this hill because that's not what life is. So these are the things and the opportunities through sport. I'm a firm believer that every child should play sport. Every child should play some form of sport because there's lessons within sport that you're going to learn far sooner than you will as a person that doesn't play.
Oh, absolutely.
So through sport, sport has done so much for me and has opened my eyes to so much, even about myself. Just different attributes that I use that as much as I can to teach my kids.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Yeah. What have you, so you played for a long time, right? You won a Super Bowl for 3 different teams. You played for a long time. What is life like now? What is a transition like? What are you passionate about now?
Still passionate about ball. I'm in that space. This is the first year where it's gonna go one way or the other. So I'm faced with change. I'm faced again with being able to adapt. So I still love ball. I still have a desire to play. I still want to play, and I still can play. But if football doesn't come, what are you gonna do?
Right.
I'm passionate about kids. I'm passionate about helping. So coaching is something that I'm possibly getting into.
You'd be such a great coach. You 100% should coach. Like 100%.
everybody says
That would be a
I know.
crime if you didn't. It would be like, you know, you're hurting all those poor kids. Like,
And that's something that I'm starting to believe in. So I'm in a space right now to where the same energy that I was giving, working out, preparing myself, getting ready for season, I'm now in the process of transitioning to putting my focus there in coaching. Got a couple of things going on off the field, commercial real estate, different business adventures that I'm into. So I got a couple of things going that I'm passionate about, but for me, my passion has always been kids. My passion is I've always wanted to give back what people have given to me. My career wouldn't have been what it was, and I wouldn't have gotten as far as I did had I not had people pour into me like guys did, like a Jonathan Stewart, a Mike Tober, a D'Angelo Williams, a Steve Smith, a Darren Sproles, a Deuce Staley. The list goes on and on and on of guys and coaches. Fit, Dave Fit, Skip. I can keep naming guys all day long. But the way that these men poured into me as a young man, I have a desire to give that back to those coming up under me. You know, I want to be able to help guys make that transition from college to the NFL, again, to not fall in the same holes that I've seen guys fall into and make the mistakes that I made. Be able to college and high school, but not college, but college and professional, that gap between there, you have the opportunity as a coach to impact a young man going into manhood and instill something in them that can help them once they become a millionaire. I mean, college is different now. You got millionaires now. But you have an opportunity to really make an impact, a lasting impact, to make these young men better men. And so that's what passion is.
I love that.
Everything that was given to me.
You should come back to Oregon, coach at Oregon, full circle.
You never know.
I love it. I love it. Well, tell us a little bit about your shirt, because I know you have an apparel company. I love your apparel company. Yes, tell us about it.
Hated Apparel. Me and two of my brothers, it's three of us now. Myself, Willie, Jonathan, and Joseph. Me and Joseph and Jonathan, we grew up together. They came to me back in 2018. Hey, we think we got something. And they were like, we're going to start a clothing line named Hate It. Okay, cool. Hate It. Yeah. You know. And then they told me the name, Having Ambition Toward Everything Desire. And I was sold. So I hopped in with them. And that this clothing brand and what this clothing brand stands for is it's a replica of how we live our lives. You know, and it not just has to do with us, but everybody. Everybody needs ambition. Everybody has to have desire to get what they want to accomplish, what they want to achieve. So having ambition toward everything desire is something that my grandmother can relate to somebody right up under me in age, to a teenager can relate to. You know, it's a lifestyle, it's a way of life. It's more than a brand. It's a representation of humanity and what we need in order to get ourselves right in our life.
I love it. And everybody go follow Kenjon on Instagram. Let him know how much he's impacted and his story has impacted your life. I know you've definitely impacted ours. And thank you so much for always just being one of the best humans I've ever come across in my life. I'm so grateful to have you as a friend. And thank you for being here and pouring into all of us today.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, everybody. Until next time. Hustle and thrive.